We're going to have another Sculpture Forum discussion about a show of work by Liz Larner, a Californian artist, born in 1960. A show that we saw a while ago at the SculptureCenter in Queens here in New York. A show that was initiated by the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis. And it's really a retrospective of Liz Larner's sculpture. Liz Larner began as a photographer, and then somehow they got more interested in the subject she was photographing, which were things going on in petri dishes. And her reputation is for someone who is very, I think, kind of experimental, working with a wide range of material, and often with materials that are not traditional sculptural materials. We saw this show on a wet morning in Queens, a wet, cold morning, and it was the day on which Russia had invaded Ukraine, and I think we were all reeling from that news and encountering this work in light of that news. And I'm not sure to what extent that prejudiced our perception of the work. I was very, very disappointed. Having read about Liz Larner more than seen her work, I thought this was going to be someone who was quite original and playful and unpredictable in a good way. And I found really the opposite to be the case. The work did not feel playful. It did not feel unpredictable. It felt all too predictable and in many instances quite familiar. As if someone had been, trying out a lot of different things that other people had already, in a sense, pioneered, and not taking them any further than other people. This is awfully unkind to say, but you think the word that one of my colleagues, and I'm here with Brant Junso and Jock Ireland, I think it was Brant who said that the work was anemic, and I think that was a very good word. Brant, having put you on the spot.
Garth, honestly, I think you pretty much summed up the whole thing pretty well already. That's an item. The thing that I missed most was a sense of internal drama, that the author is working out something in form, in time, which she's not entirely aware of. I felt that there weren't unknowns in this. I didn't feel that there was any kind of mystery, formal or otherwise. That there was that I was only seeing just what was in front of me, and nothing more.
Yeah, I think Jock, you spoke about a painter, British painter, remind me.
Kossoff,
a show that was on at the same time. Where you felt, Leon Kossoff's a British painter no longer with us, but often in encountering his paintings, you do get the sense that it's a matter of life and death. And that's something that, that's a bit over the top, but you get the sense here that things didn't matter that much. that there was a great latitude of what was okay and what was not okay. In fact, there wasn't seemed to be anything that was not okay. Whatever came out of the kiln, whatever happened, you know.
Yeah, I had a sense of there being sort of two different Liz Larners. And one, I wouldn't describe as anemic, or sassy is the word that I reach for when I think of the pieces that were mostly upstairs. And there's a kind of vitality associated with that sassiness. But it's very quickly becomes tiresome. That ball, wrecking ball, banging into the corner of one of the rooms upstairs was sassy, is my word for it, but ultimately tiresome. And then the ceramic pieces seem to be more serious, more that sustained attention directed at these things. But it ended up. I kept thinking of Gerhard Richter and they sort of made Richter look good to me, and he does. I think of Richter as a guy who started out making sort of deeply cynical paintings that were a comment on abstraction, and just a really sort of hateful comment on abstraction. But over the years, he's gained this reputation, and now people talk about his work as extraordinarily beautiful. But it's not beautiful to me. It's hollow, and in the same way that these Liz Larner's ceramics get. It's not so much that it's hollow; it's just deeply confused. It's sort of trying to be beautiful, but taking a shortcut that leaves a very bad taste in my mouth.
Sassy is good. I mean, Sassy I would like, and I can see Sassy in that piece where she's sewn numerous false eyelashes onto some piece of fabric.
Right.
So what you get is what appears to be a piece of velvet hanging on the wall, but on close inspection turns out to be countless false eyelashes sewn to a piece of fabric. That I would accept as odd, interesting, peculiar, and sassy is a good word for it. I didn't think there were many pieces that came close to that kind of unexpectedness
And vitality.
and vitality.
Yeah.
There's a huge ball of what was it? Elastic bandage or something.
Yeah.
And a small tube of woven metal bands. And formally those things are, I mean, what's wrong to say about that? I mean, it seems that people have done that, been there, done that.
Right. Brandt brought up Jackie Windsor.
Jackie Windsor.
Well, these ceramics, rosemary charcoal. Those things are really inhabited and probing, and have enormous psychological depth, presence. I mean, these things, these hands, like you think of the hanging pieces of Naumann's anatomical fragments. So disturbing. I don't know. It's just like such pale echoes.
Well, again, it seems to be that the work is has allowed people to bring to it their own interests. It's open enough for critics and curators to find a way to make use of it, a way to engage with it that allows them to attribute value and meaning that we didn't find in the work, and maybe it's our insensitivity that is the problem here, not the work. He said, and Maud gave him a look like, "What are you saying, guys? You don't believe that for a minute?" No, I don't believe it for a minute. But it has to be said. It is possible. It is possible that there's a blind spot here, that there's work here that speaks to a feminist sensibility that I don't have.
Yeah, and a contemporary.
Well, I think I do have a feminist sensibility.
Well, yeah, but we're all old.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Yeah, but what does that, to say that word feminist has become sort of detached from anything, I don't know, substantive. It seems to me it's something that you learn about in college. You read a book about feminism in college. You read a book about deconstruction in college. You read a book about, I don't know, structuralism, all kinds of sort of...
Jack, we're on thin ice here. We're three old white guys.
Yeah, right. But the sort of new academic...
I have to warn you before you fall face first in.
Yeah, but when I was growing up, academic meant drawings with red chalk, that sort of imitated Michelangelo. And now academic is something different. Nobody even draws anymore. But the critical studies, reading books, is...
The radical politics have become academic.
It's all politics.
Well, yeah. And... politics is good. It's part of life. It's important, and art has to engage with that. But this is a very distant engagement.
Although you've recommended the new Pearl book, which is the first I know of to kind of militate for the fact that there's a mental and social existence that's non-political and critical and non-commentary.
Yeah.
That's enormously important to the artwork. Which comes from some state of suspension, some dreamlike suspension of all of that.
Well, yeah, we do.
A dreamlike suspension that I don't see in this exhibition.
I don't think it's a dreamlike.
It's really
state.
deliberate.
I think it's a question of the artworks, particularly sculpture. I would argue for as needing to somehow or other make present a world that is not conceptualized, and that in a way contradicts your everyday understanding of the world as an encyclopedia of concepts.
Yeah, that's... I want to applaud that.
Yeah.
That word, conceptual, is hard to use, and you use it.
Let's leave it there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.